I don't.
That is true. All right, everybody. Well, welcome to Reselling, the real life episode number 5. Basically, it is when is a good time to keep your job and when is a good time for you to quit your job to be reselling full time. And I was really lucky. I was able to get Dave and Sara Gillman for the show today. So if you don't know who Dave and Sara Gillman is, why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves? Because I know most of us know who you are, but not everybody.
He's Gill Daddy and I'm Gill Mama, and we have a YouTube channel that we aren't super active on, and well, we really aren't active on anymore because we used to make videos about reselling hauls and selling on Amazon and eBay, but we've pretty much jumped over to private label now, and it's kind of hard to make videos on private label.
Yeah, like if it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at. I mean, I actually went back to watch some of your videos to figure out how did you test your electronics, and you actually gave it away, and I was like, sweet, I'm gonna do that, and it's been excellent. Like I can't, like VCRs just keep coming and going out of this place.
Yeah.
And kitchen appliance parts. I never would have thought about kitchen appliance parts. I rarely pick up bread makers though.
We don't do bread makers too much anymore. When we do, it's typically a whole bread maker.
Well, we don't do them at all anymore.
Well, no, not at all anymore. But we did some this last year.
A year ago we did.
And you can sell whole bread makers on Amazon.
Yeah, I used to sell the bread maker parts, and I think when I told people about that it put too many people out there selling them because you can find bread makers anywhere. But for a while there, yeah, I was selling bread pans for, between $25 and $35, depending on the model. The paddles in them, you could still sell this stuff. It just goes for a lot less. But the paddles used to get between $20 and $30 out of, sometimes 15, just depends on the model. Anymore, I don't think you can get that. But we started actually selling the whole bread makers on Amazon once those parts became kind of just not really worth my time. I started just selling the whole bread maker. And a lot of those, I mean, you can get $70, $80, $90 for, but only in the cold times of the year. So around Thanksgiving, Christmas, probably around right now too, people are baking bread.
True. Yeah, the wife says that the Panasonic Omnivision VCRs are going to be my bread makers.
Bread pans.
My bread pans, because she's afraid that they're just not going to be able to sell. It's like, well, they're still selling. Now I just can't find them like I used to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember when we first picked up on VCRs, but when we did, oh my God, we were selling a ton of them.
Oh, yeah.
Just left, like we were sending out a VCR almost every day.
Yeah, and then now it's even better just to, if you don't have a remote, to buy the remote and then send it directly into Amazon, sell it on FBA.
I actually did try doing that, but every time I would buy a remote to pair up with the VCR and send it back, it always ended up getting returned because somebody was saying, oh, it doesn't work right. It's like, I verified it myself, completely verified it myself before I sent it in. So what's wrong with it?
Yeah. Yeah, it's part of the game, I guess. But, you can sell VCRs for, the problem with selling them merchant fulfilled on Amazon sometimes is that sometimes you sell them for $50 and sometimes it's going across the country and the shipping ends up costing you like $25.
Yeah, I've got a combo player right now listed as merchant fulfilled that they're only giving me like $3 or $4 credit, and I raised the price by an extra $50 just to cover that cost. And I've got the actual remote with it. If I could find a box to actually send it into Amazon, then I wouldn't worry about it. And again, say hi. Look at me, I'm not happy on camera now because I know you're live. Mwah. But, all right, so mainly the discussion today is when is a good time to keep your job and when is a good time to quit your job and do reselling full time. because I'm having some major issues with work right now. They're putting some policies into place that I can't follow. It's like I personally just don't agree with what they're doing. And I have a manager who is all about, he understands that I sell on eBay and Amazon full time, that I make way more money with eBay and Amazon than I do coming into work. And the other day, he pulled several people into the office and he's like, okay, why is everybody here? It's like, no idea. It's like your schedule. I need to know, what is your availability? And I told him the same thing that it is every week. No change. He's like, great. And then he looks at me. It's like, I got to figure out how to get more hours out of you before I fire you. And he said it jokingly. And I was like, okay, well, if me running a business from home is a problem with me working here, then let me know and I'll quit.
Don't quit, get fired so you get unemployment.
I seriously considered that, but he even tells everybody that I'm one of the top drivers. It's like, dude, I've been there going on 11 years. Just that one store, 11 years.
They're lowering the hourly. Isn't that what you said last time, is they're lowering your hourly?
My hourly is going from minimum wage to I am one of the lucky few. I'm getting $5.30 an hour. And they're upping how much I get per delivery, but one of my coworkers is actually doing the math, and he says he's losing so much money every day. Like every day he pulls out his calculator. He's like, okay, this is what I made today in tips. This is what I made in my per delivery, and this is what I'm making per hour. And if we were on the old system, this is how much I made. And if we were on, and with this new system, this is how much I made. So I'm losing $25 today.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like, I know going into work it is stressful, especially with the new manager. He swore up and down that he wasn't going to put me out of my availability because he knows I work from home and he didn't want to have me coming in anymore. But he also fails to realize that pizza delivery drivers are a dying breed. They are hard to get nowadays. It's like, I know you guys went from working a job to just straight up reselling after a while, and I'm working a job in reselling, but I'm wondering if it's about time for me to just straight up take that jump.
Sounds like it. How many hours a week do you work at your job?
18 to 20.
And how much do you bring home? Okay, how much do you make on eBay? Have you ever figured it out hourly?
No, I never really stopped to think about it hourly. I know it's at least enough for a full-time job.
Right.
Well, you should figure it out and see if the hourly outweighs, if your eBay hourly outweighs your pizza hourly.
Well, that's kind of what I always tell people is that I don't know. I've had a lot of people that would say you need to have 3, 4, 5 months of bills paid first before you make that jump. And I've always said this, but I don't think that's necessary. I really don't.
No.
I think that you don't need 3 months. Heck, I don't even think you need 2 months. If you know how to make money, which like you know how to do Amazon or eBay or whatever you're doing, if you're doing something online or you're out mowing lawns or whatever, and you have a job and you're doing this thing on the side, you have this thing that you really want to do full time. Why don't you figure out how many hours now are you going to be able to put into that business that you really want to do, and how much would that raise? Because the more time you have putting into this, now you have more income coming out of it. So if you can figure it out and go, well, I can totally do this and I can totally make it, then do it. Then do it. And I always ask people when they're like, yeah, but I don't know about
Last video, yeah, but
yeah, but it's like, it's not about, it's just fear. People are so scared to quit their jobs. They're so used to that.
That's exactly what it is, and that's exactly what he has said to me the last 3 days when I'm like, would you just put your notice in already?
Yeah, don't be scared. Just do it.
In this society, we are raised to be employees. They don't raise us to have a business and this, that, and the other. It's like we are raised to have a job. We are trained to work for somebody else. They tell us that you need to get good grades, to have a good education, and so you can have a good job, 401k with health benefits.
And that's just not really
It doesn't work in this day
and age
anymore.
anymore.
No. And once you get out there and start doing your own thing, you realize what BS all that is.
Yeah.
Yep.
The whole 401k thing. I mean, you can do that yourself. You can invest yourself. Get a book called, let's see, what is it called?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Money Master the Game by Tony Robbins. And it tells you everything you need to know about investing. The thing is people they're lazy. And the hardest amount of work, the hardest thing people think, you know, as far as work goes, is thinking. People don't want to think. You know, that's why people buy an $80 bread maker, because they don't want to have to get a new one and learn how to
They don't want to learn how to use yeast.
a new thing. Yeah, they're like, I don't know how to use that one. I'm going to Amazon. I'll buy my same model.
Same with the people that buy the VCRs. They want the same one because they don't
model.
want to learn.
People don't want to think. And, you know, when you go to work, it's like, do this. Okay. Do that. Okay. Hey, you need to put a percentage in a 401k. You have retirement. Okay. You know, everything's done for you. You don't want to have to think about, like, how do I invest? How do I start my own, you know, investment portfolio? And healthcare, it's like, so what? Go buy healthcare if you need healthcare. You know, so you got to figure that into your income. If you have, say, benefits, right? How much is it going to cost you to go buy benefits? Well, then that's going to be the extra amount of money that you need to make. And guess what? When you're your own boss, you can make more money whenever you want.
Yeah.
You know, when you're not your own boss, you can only make as much as they allow you to make. And then in your situation, same thing. You know, I've seen it happen at just about every job I've been. Cut hours, or they cut like little incentives and like bonuses that you get for this or that, and then your pay goes down. And it's not your fault. It's nothing that you did. It's just because you're stuck working for them, you know?
Yeah. I know when the whole Obamacare thing went into play, where I work, they cut everybody's hours, and I was already part-time, so I didn't have to worry about it, but they cut everybody's hours down so that they don't have to pay extra.
Yeah.
They don't have to pay all that extra fees. And I was told that this company, this company, this company, this company, and this company, and a whole bunch of others are doing the exact same thing because they don't want to have to pay for the whole Obamacare thing. It's like, yeah, I used to sell health insurance for a short bit, and they basically tell you it's the biggest scam out there. So I'm not exactly one for health insurance. I actually looked into the health insurance for Obamacare, and it was telling me like $900 a month. It's like, no. Like, I can't, that's more than my rent at that time. It's like, no.
Yeah.
The way I look, I mean, when you get older and you need the health insurance, I can see it being a necessity. But I mean, at this point, he got out of the military in 2004. Yeah. I personally have not had health insurance one time since then. And I mean, other than like one time or two times that I've gone to the doctor and paid $120 for a visit.
Yeah,
I've never used it.
It is true. It's more, you know, health insurance is going to help you if you have health issues. I can see that. Some people are constantly going to the doctor and they need to get prescriptions and they need that stuff. Then they need health insurance. But, you know, I've been to the doctor probably 3 times since I've been out of the military. I mean, not that much, you know. Just, I had a kidney stone one time.
And we didn't have insurance when we went to that.
I didn't have insurance then.
Good thing about not having insurance, if you have to go to the ER, they instantly take like 60% off if you don't have insurance. And on top of that, they'll take off another percentage if you pay within a month.
Right, which I did. You know, I think the bill was like a little over $1,000 after all the percentages were taken off. If I had insurance, they would have charged the insurance company like $3,800 or something. You know, so it's a big racket. It really is.
But no, as far as when should you quit your job, he quit his job when he made more money doing eBay than he made at his job.
No, I quit my job when I decided to quit my job, and it was when I decided to quit my job, that's when I got fired.
Which was wonderful because we got unemployment.
And it actually was true because, you know, you know, if you've seen any of my most recent videos, you know, I read a lot, and I'm really all about, you know, the power of, you know, what you think about is what you get. You know, it's not a secret. It's been around for a long time. What you think about is what you get. And, you know, I started going to work, not really wanting to be there, and knowing that I was making like almost double my paycheck doing eBay, you know, and I'm like, why, you know, I didn't want to quit because I'm just not a quitter, and I just didn't want to quit.
Yeah.
And I would go to work and I'd have a bad attitude, and I'd always tell people, you know, I don't even know why I'm here. Like if I was at home doing more eBay, I'd be making even more money. And people would hear it, and eventually they finally, you know, my performance, I was working for DirecTV, and I was a operator, basically, you know, a customer service representative. And I just, my performance, I stopped caring. You know, people call in, I want to cancel. I'm like, okay, let's just get you canceled. You know?
Instead of trying to talk them out of it.
Right. And so they caught that on a call, and they called me down and they said, well, we're, you know, your recent, whatever metrics are not up to par, and we've decided that we are not going to give you another chance, that we are going to terminate your employment as of today, right now. And
He was all excited.
And I smiled at him and I said, okay.
He said,
and
thank you.
They kind of looked at me all funny. I said, well, you guys picked a beautiful day to fire me, because now I can enjoy this beautiful day. I've been staring out the window and it's just nice outside. I just want to go home now. And they're like, okay. And I seriously called her on the way home. I said, guess what? And it was like.
And the first thing I was like, you finally got fired, didn't you?
I said, I got fired. So
of course, I was a little bit nervous about it because we had never really gone full time. That wasn't something that we'd even really talked about too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then once he quit, he started working more hours on eBay, and within probably 2 months, he was making more than his DirecTV income and my Walmart income. So he was like, it's time for you to quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scary. Like, I'm honestly terrified to do it. I was like, I know I can do it. And she's been telling me for months to do it.
Yeah. The biggest thing is you have to be self-disciplined. You know, I think the biggest problem with people that go full-time and end up going back to work is because they're not disciplined. You know, they don't actually hold themselves responsible for a schedule, for getting up in the morning, or, you know, it's nice because you can make your schedule whatever you want, but you still have to have a schedule. You know, you could stay up till 3 in the morning every night and sleep until noon, 1 o'clock, which I've done many times.
That's basically my normal sleep schedule.
Yeah, but you can do that. And what's cool but the thing is you don't go to work for 3-4 hours and then go, I'm done for the day because I'm my own boss. No, you got up at noon. Now you got to work till, you know, whenever. You got to work 7 hours, 8 hours. You got to put the time in. If you can do that and actually keep a schedule, you will make money. And if you set goals, you push yourself even further.
Yeah, I have a goal where I try to get at least 1 Amazon shipment out a week. And after shopping day, I was going through some other things, and I also discovered there was about 4 boxes of stuff that I had set aside with a Post-it note saying for next Amazon FBA shipment. And it's like, oh, God, I can't believe I forgot this. Oh, God, I can't believe I forgot this one. That VCR has been sitting there for too long. That's it. I got to, like, take a whole weekend and just get all that out. Yeah, finally all got out today. I'm actually flat out of packing material. It was terrifying. I bought a whole roll of bubble wrap along with a couple ink cartridges because I knew I was running low, and boxes, a whole bunch of supplies, and I had to replace both ink cartridges, color and black and white. Finished up the roll of bubble wrap that I had, almost completely used that roll of bubble wrap, used up the bulk of my paper, and I think I used about 8 boxes. And I actually had so much going into one box. I grabbed, the nice thing about pizza delivery is you just happen to catch people's boxes. And I found this one lady, she had this way oversized box. It was an Amazon box. It was size Q2. I don't know if you've seen that size or not, but that was probably about as big as my arms can stretch.
Yeah.
I think we have one of those at our warehouse because I got like a hula hoop style swing chair that's like the net in the middle, and it's big, and that and like a hammock or something that came in this box that I had never seen before. It's just massive.
Q2, yeah, it was big, and I actually got everything into that box, and it was still a little bit too big, so I actually had to cut it to size it. But it was perfect. It's like the biggest box I had was too small, and then I pulled that thing out, and it's like I put everything in it, and it was like way too big. It's like, oh God.
Okay, now here's my question to you. Do you realize that if you quit your job, you're adding pretty much another full day to your week? You could go sourcing more. You could put
More
out
than
2
that.
Amazon shipments.
You're adding like 3 days.
Yeah, 3 days of work time.
Work time. You're adding like 3 days of work time to what you currently do.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
those days where I have to go into work later that day, and it puts the stress on you. It's like, oh God, I have to go to work later. And then you don't get the mood to list, but you at least get your items packed. And then my Friday is a split shift. I go in, I open, I turn around, and I close. And that's after already closing on Thursday. And I get like a 2 or 3 hour window that I have that I can go home, pack items, take them to the post office, go back to work. And they're like, what, did you have a nice relaxing time? It's like, no. I'm like, no, I went home and I worked. I had work to do. It's like, oh, what'd you do? It's like, I packed items that sold.
Yeah.
Oh, what did you make? About $250 today. And they're like, what? And you can actually whip out your phone and go, that's what I sold, that's what I sold, that's what I sold, that's what I sold. And then there was over here on Amazon, that was an extra $80. That's already sold, but I don't have to touch those items. They're already FBA. And then they're like, what's FBA? And then you have to explain that one.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not hard to make a living online. It really isn't. And once you do go full time, you're going to find that you have more freedom. You know, it's more freedom to advance yourself into other areas.
And on
Do
top
you
of that,
want to do like private labeling? You know,
You're
that's why.
getting rid of the stress of your job too.
Yeah.
All
if you
those
wanna,
stresses you just talked about no longer exist.
they go away.
Phone calls a day.
Oh my God, my store
and his
manager
6 text messages.
calls me at least once a day asking me to come in. It's like, dude, I'm at home working, or my wife is now working because you've had me working so much that she had to go get a job so that I can stay at home and work when I'm not at work.
Part of that was your inability to say no.
Oh, I've
And
said no.
agreeing to
It's gotten to
work
the
too many
point I
hours.
just stopped answering the phone when he calls. Like, you can call me, you can say, I need you to come in. I'm going to tell you my wife's at work. I can't. I've got my kids. And then you'll be like, I've got nobody. And it's like, do you want to go through the argument, or do you want me to just ignore your call?
Yep.
Ignoring the call is just so much easier and so much less stressful.
But it's still stress. And
It's
still
still
unnecessary.
stress having to deal with him.
Yep. Quit your job. Quit your job. Quit
You
your
know,
job.
Quit your job. Maybe
What is stopping you from quitting your job right now?
It's honestly just the fear. It's like, I feel it's time.
But what do you? What
Basically trying
is
to
the
figure
fear?
out- It's having gone all that time up. I have to have a job, but and then when you are home working for yourself, there's the fear of what if all sales stop.
Right. So what if? That's what I always ask people. Or you can say, and then what?
Then
You
I
know?
figure out how else to get the sales back up, or wait till the very last minute and then get a job.
Right.
Exactly.
I can go at the last possible minute to get a job, but I don't want to do that again.
So that's the worst case scenario. So
Worst case
So
scenario, you
you're
have
not
to
going
get
to be
another
you're not
job.
going to be maimed, killed. You're not going to be homeless. You're not going to go hungry. You're not going to starve. Nothing else bad is going to happen other than the possibility of it not working out and you having to go get a job again. Which unless you know, if you're giving up a $200,000 a year salary, and you'll never ever be able to get another $200,000 a year salary, then I would think there'd be a lot more fear there.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you have a job and you're making $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month or whatever, you can replace that income with another job anytime you want if it doesn't work out. There's just so much opportunity. I mean, we live in a land of tons of opportunity. It's everywhere. I just don't understand why more people don't do like what we do, or anything for that matter. You know, go chase a dream, follow their dreams. Why? Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
Ron and Carrie, or tell your boss he is an idiot and can't run the store right and get fired. I'm actually.
I'm pretty sure you've actually told him that once or twice.
I'm the asshole that will tell him that, and I have told him that.
Yeah.
He has told several people he doesn't know what he would do with the store if I leave. Like, he straight up told other people that, and it's like, yeah, he's not going to be fun to work with when he realizes I'm going to quit.
Michael, you're being a vagina.
Yeah, I would seriously do it. I mean,
I would guess by that laugh your wife agrees.
You have the means to do it. You have something that can be in place of it. So give it a shot. Why not? You know, and like you said, you've been there how long? 8 years?
11.
You should own the store.
I'm going on 11.
11. You should own the store.
Seriously.
You could have been a doctor by now if you would have went to college instead of starting that. You know.
God, I don't want to go back to school.
You know what I mean? You look at how much time people put in. I just know so many people that my stepfather, for instance, he worked at his job for I think 14 or 15 years.
Wow.
And by the end, I think he was making 14 something an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, 14 something an hour. Of course, he got lots of overtime. All that means is that you're just working your ass off. Like you have no life. You know, he just work. That's all he did. Work and sleep. Work, sleep, eat, poop, and go back to work. That's all he did. For what? Time is all we have. We're all going to die one day, and time is the only thing that we can never get more of. We can get more money. We can get more of everything else. But we can't get more time. But people constantly think the only way to survive is to trade the most valuable possession you have, which is your time, for money. Once you get away from that, the world opens up. It's just amazing, you know. The freedom you have when you work for yourself is just. I mean, I can get on my phone right now, and I can seriously go, hey, I'm gonna book a flight to Vegas. Let's go tomorrow, you know. And it's cheap. I mean, for me, it's like $180 a person to go to Vegas round trip. And I could book everything on my phone, and then I could grab a freaking carry-on, and I could head over to the airport and fly out to Vegas, and I could stay there for a week if I wanted to. That's the freedom of not working for somebody. People just don't realize what kind of freedom that is, you know? It's amazing.
And you also get to lose your stupid coworkers. I actually broke some of the numbers down for one of my coworkers of this is how much money I make per year with working here. And he was like, okay, that's good. And this is how much money I made total of 2014. And it was like earlier, this was like middle of December. He's like, okay. And this is how much I made total all year. Now, which is better, working from home where you're making this much money or working a job where you're making this much money? He's like, working here because you're making minimum wage. It's like, oh, are you
okay,
really
you realize you just
stupid?
answered your own question right here, too. If you're making more money here at home working on eBay, you don't need to be working over there. You realize you just answered your own question, right?
I know.
Okay.
The fact if somebody was that stupid, it's like he's working and he's making minimum wage. It's like, well, I'm making less than minimum wage and I get tips and I make a lot more than that, but still, are you really that stupid?
But you do realize you're sitting here calling yourself stupid. And if you decide to quit your job within the next week, I expect a thank you video.
Yeah.
Oh, we basically already decided that I'm going to. It's more of the win.
Yeah.
And
Right now.
Call your boss on the live hangout.
Yeah.
Call your boss on the live hangout and give him your 2-week notice.
I see this everywhere. And it's been written forever. Successful people makes decisions quickly. Always. Make decisions quickly. Sometimes they're bad decisions, sometimes they're not, but you make decisions quickly and you make changes slowly. That's how successful people work. I make decisions, fast decisions all the time, just because every time I do, I win. And it's not so much that every decision I make is the right one. It's just the fact that I can make 100 decisions before one person who doesn't make that, that makes decisions slowly, makes like 5 decisions. And I can fail more often than that person that only made 5 decisions because I keep doing it over and over and over again. It's just like, just like anything. Just like if I have more draws in a hat than you do, I'm going to end up drawing more numbers. I'm going to end up winning. I'm going to win the prize.
Quit your job. Quit your job.
I overanalyze everything.
Yeah, that's a big problem in this house. Is we overthink things a lot. I'm asking you to quit overthinking and just freaking do it already.
Yeah. And analysis paralysis. That's what they call it.
Do it, Sarah did. Call Matt right now and put in your notice.
Do it right on the show.
Yes, do it right on the show.
I don't care where he is.
You want me to call him out of the... No, I don't like talking to him. Why would I do that?
Hey, do you realize that he calls you at least once a day?
He calls me here once to 20 times a day.
That's why I love his ringtone now.
Right?
Yeah, I would seriously call and just say, hey, you know what? Me and my wife really talk about it a lot, and I'm going to go full-time on my business online, and I'm just going to put my 2 weeks in. So there you go. Done.
Look how hard he's thinking.
And then it'll be done.
On the computer now.
Let me tell you how it's going to feel when that happens. Like the second you get off that phone,
you're going to smile.
You're going to have this load just lift off you. That's what's amazing. It's kind of like when I go through my house and finally get the nerve up to like donate some crap that's been laying around for a long time. You're always like, I don't want to donate that. What if I need to use that one day? And I paid $100 for that. I don't want to. And then finally, I just load the car up with everything, and I just don't care what it costs me. I get rid of it, and I feel like it just.
My house is pretty.
That's how I feel after Amazon shipments. I'm like, I have some cleanliness in here again. I can almost run the vacuum in here.
Yeah, there's always that much clutter. I need boxes for.
Oh no, this is empty compared to what it was earlier today.
Like I need boxes for those 2 items right there because I can't find one the right size to send into Amazon.
Justin just said that your wife has the balls in the house.
Yeah, I already responded.
True story.
Like, yes.
By the way, hi, Justin.
Hi, Justin. Justin just started getting into private label. So.
Ooh. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like I would like to get there, but the wife wants to have all the money stay in America. So it's trying to find somebody who can make an item here in the US at least cheap enough so that I can go ahead and buy it in bulk and send it into Amazon.
Me and David have actually conversed about you and your wife on this topic.
No, I already told him. I told him when we were on that hangout that one time on how
I remember everything, and I knew you'd probably want to tell her yourself too.
Well, it's the fact that if you look more into it, buying products from China doesn't really hurt the jobs in America. It actually helps because it does provide jobs for construction, for the importing. All the importing, like all the transportation, those are all jobs that are being created. Just for instance, like Amazon, when they started shipping things around the country, UPS hired more drivers, they got more trucks, they got more planes. I mean, just because you don't have somebody working for minimum wage in a warehouse or a factory assembly line making your product for you, doesn't mean that you're hurting the country in any way. You're creating jobs. You're still creating jobs.
And look at all the people that are buying it from America.
It actually stimulates the economy because, like the TV sets we buy and stuff like that, they're not manufactured here. Because the reason why is so people can afford to have these TVs in the home. If we had them all manufactured here and did not allow them to be manufactured anywhere else for less, people could not afford them. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have people they wouldn't go spend $10,000-$15,000 on a TV.
Yeah.
Very, very valid points.
So just think about that. It's not. There are jobs that aren't going to be there because you're not having somebody manufacturing here, but you're also creating jobs at the same time. You really got to think. It doesn't like we came out with machines to do things for us and stuff like that. Those jobs are lost, right? People aren't doing those things anymore, but there's still plenty of jobs out there. When one thing goes away, that doesn't mean something else doesn't, come up in its place.
I couldn't have said it better. Now I at least have it recorded so we can go back to it and understand it more later. Forget it.
There's a lot of articles written on what kind of jobs importing actually does help and how it helps the American economy.
Okay.
Oh.
But that might be somewhere where you want to go in the future. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not ready for that yet, but it is in the plan.
Yeah.
I've actually got your video of private labeling from Alibaba and how to do it all. I actually have that saved in a playlist to look back at later.
Yeah, and that's just a little piece of the pie on how to do it, but that's just one thing, one area where you go to find products and stuff. But and there is people that get stuff made in the United States, like beard oil and cosmetics, a lot of the lotions and sex lubes and stuff like that, because of the FDA requirements and stuff. It's much better to get that stuff made in the United States because they already have the FDA certifications and all that stuff. They're in a GMP facility and all that stuff, Which I do want to start a sex lube line one of these days. I might do.
Did you have any other questions about
No.
stuff coming from China? I think there was one, but I can't remember.
No.
Okay.
Nope.
But yeah, you can get stuff made all over the world. It's not just China. Just China makes a lot of stuff. That's it.
Yeah. I think there was another place that's coming up on the market that you can have them made even cheaper, but they're still kind of so new. I think it was Iraq. No.
Pakistan makes a lot of textiles and metal.
Okay.
And
No.
what's the one that has like hemp products?
No. Where the Buddhists are from.
Nepal.
There you go.
Nepal. Yeah, Nepal's a really popular place to get like bags and backpacks and stuff like that.
Okay.
Bronze stuff.
I've still got a bronze deer that I just can't get rid of.
Throw it at your boss.
Right, I need that bronze.
That's brass.
Bronze
Okay,
has a
well,
slightly reddish tone. Bronze.
Maybe your boss is watching right now. That would be.
I've given him the link to my YouTube channel, and he's told me he's never watched anything.
Yeah.
So you gonna call him?
Why would I call him on my day off? I hate calling him on talking to him on my day off. I hate talking to him when I'm at work.
Give him your 2 weeks.
Yeah, all you're doing is giving him your 2 weeks. You can text it in. I'd settle for that right now.
Oh no, he's had people do that.
Why not?
But why not? Right.
People break up over text messages.
I'll just leave.
Kind of like breaking
I'll
up.
write it out and say this is the last day I'll work. Leave it on
You
his
can write
desk,
it out
and then the
too,
next
but
day he can see it.
let's initiate it now and get it started
No,
with the
I'm
text
not
message.
calling him on my day off.
Just give me his phone number and I'll do it for you. I'll just tell you. They have services like that, like the breakup services and stuff like that. You can pay somebody to do it for you. They're like, hey, I just want to let you know he's putting in his 2 weeks right now. So
To give you a rough idea how work with him. He's had 3 managers walk out on him. He is currently our only manager.
Good time to quit then. You only have to deal with one guy pissed off at you.
I delivered pizzas when I was in the Army. Yeah, I'd get off work and I'd go to the pizza place and I'd deliver pizzas after work till about midnight. And then I'd get up in the morning, go to PT at 6 a.m. and do it all over again. But it gave me extra money, you know.
Besides, I just love to deliver pizza.
Seriously, I'm
my
so tired
customers.
of hearing that.
But yeah.
It's one of your excuses for why you don't quit. Did you even?
I will lick your nose.
Nope, you won't.
Time to quit your job, Michael.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
And then, you know, and then when you want more money, you just put more time into it, more effort into it. And, you know, you can do whatever you want. You'll have more time to, you know, if you want to write Kindle books, if you want to make more YouTube videos or whatever, you'll have the time to do it. You know,
Yeah.
it allows you to do much more than just one thing.
I've actually been thinking about doing a few more how-to videos. Like I've got one idea in particular about how to get the battery corrosion out of electronics. I've actually had some pretty decent success with how I do it, and I figure that other people want to know.
There you go. Quit your job, make your video.
Actually, right now I'm just looking for something that has a little bit more battery corrosion than this thing.
Oh, okay. Like, quit making excuses. All I hear is excuses.
Well, you can barely see the battery corrosion on this thing, and I wanted to find something a little bit.
That's fine, but you can still quit your job. Quit making excuses.
Maybe I'll make a how-to video on how to
Quit your job. How to not hold on to a job like Michael Stone.
I bet you could Google it, like how to get fired from your job. You know, I think there's.
I've actually pushed some buttons on past managers, and one I've gotten fired. The other one I played asshole because I really hated her, and I wanted to stick up
I
for
really
my
wish
other
you had let it
coworkers.
go and collected unemployment.
And
And we would be so much further along with Amazon right now had you
And I
not
actually-
fought the firing from Teresa.
Actually, I didn't fight it. I just wanted to play asshole to get her in trouble, and I honestly had no clue I was going to get my job back.
No, you fought for it. You wanted the job
Actually,
back.
I didn't think I'd get it back. But
But she took improper procedures, and that's what ultimately got you the job back. And you didn't say no. You fought it,
that weekend, I actually learned how to do Amazon, though.
right? And we would be so much further along with Amazon right now if you had just stayed fired.
She's in her pajamas, so she doesn't want to be on camera.
Excuses, excuses.
Yeah, we've actually already talked about it. I think we already have the day. It's just...
Yeah, you're going to do it right now. You're going to send him a text message with your 2 weeks notice.
I want to hear the date then.
I think the latest was going to be February 4th.
No.
That's a month away.
That's a month away.
We already discussed this one.
No, we did not.
Okay, we'll talk about that more later.
Okay, so I expect you to not be working at your
I
pizza
don't remember
place.
this
Okay,
conversation.
I can't hear her and you at the same time. What was
I
that,
said-
Sarah?
Do you realize now that you have given us a definitive date, and if you break that, I'm never going to be on your show again?
Yeah, it's the thing is if something doesn't work out, you can always go back.
Actually, I don't think I'd want to go back. I mean, it's been almost 11 years at the same place. I was actually pushing to go for hit the 11-year mark, but with this new policy, I can't. No, it's just no. I actually feel bad for the new drivers because our new drivers are only going to be making like $4 an hour.
If you wouldn't go work there again, why would you want to work there now?
Right.
That's why I'm leaving.
But there's, you know, the thing is there's always jobs. You'll always be able to find another job if you ever needed to do that again. You know.
My plan is to not ever work again for somebody else.
For somebody else.
Like when I do this, I getting a job will be my last last stance. It's like I don't ever want to have to do it again. It's like I know what I can do to go get a job if I really need the money, and I don't plan on doing that.
Yeah.
That was hell. That was a whole different level of hell. That was the hell of let's work at Amazon.com, working in the warehouse. That was actually one of the reasons that it took me so long to start selling Amazon FBA.
Yeah.
That's why I'm so paranoid about how he packs stuff before he sends it in.
Yeah. Like I pack my items 100% secure because I've watched them drop kick boxes across the warehouse. Always scary. Like you could hear items rattling of broken glass, and yeah, no.
Well, yeah, you see that video. It says your item must be able to withstand this drop, and they like drop it.
It was like an 8-foot drop. It's like, yeah, I'm glad I don't do glass.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Luckily, most of the items I send in, well, pretty much all of the items I
I don't
send
think
in,
we
not
have
really
anything
breakable. Like I can kick my boxes around, nothing's gonna happen to them. So.
Like I actually had a lot of luck this past weekend. I found a lot of CDs and DVDs that were brand new in the package. I think the hard part was just listing them and getting them all labeled.
Yeah, getting stickers off of the crap. And
Yeah. It's like I'm still doing the 30-up labels. I still haven't gotten my Dymo working correctly. It's trying to print one way and the labels are this way. It's like, how do I fix this?
Yeah.
It's like somebody said that it can be fixed, but it's a bitch to find. It's like how you just have to go into the settings and do it just right. It's like I've got so many cords over here connected to this computer, and I've got the Dymo connected over to this computer, and this computer doesn't get used as often as I'd like it to.
Well, you could probably use it more if you weren't working at Donato's. Of course, you could also use it more if you didn't have all that crap piled around it.
Oh, come on. That's the pile of stuff that I'm going to get to.
You just gave David the name of your work. He can call and quit for you.
Oh. I keep forgetting. Take care of that. That's how I knew that I ran out of ink.
Oh. Because my word wasn't good enough? That Aiden's chore charts weren't printing
Well,
properly?
I didn't get the flag, and I asked you, was it saying color or black and white? And
I
you
told
said,
you
I
it
don't
said
know.
black and white.
Well, you
No,
told
I
me.
did.
No.
No, you weren't listening to me. Because you were in denial about the fact that we were out of ink again already.
Yeah, I just bought that ink.
It's because you have to ship so much stuff.
I know,
I
right?
haven't even printed that many worksheets. It's all been you.
But, all right, well, it has been an hour, so I think we're going to go ahead and call it. So don't hesitate to ask any questions, even after if you're not watching the video live. So just don't forget, like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.